Before riding a bike on your own, you use training wheels, right? But before training wheels, what did you do? You watched somebody ride a bike. That initial observation, that visual study laid down the foundation for success. And even though you might have crashed a few times when you first started out, you knew what riding a bike looked like. Screenwriting is similar. It's important to know how the pros do it and what good, successful screenplays look like. So I've lined up 4 different screenplays for beginning screenwriters to learn from and experienced screenwriters to be reminded of that this is how it's done. My name's Vincent. I make tips and training videos to help you tell stories anywhere by becoming a better all-around filmmaker. This screenwriting tip is all about learning from your favorite screenplays and applying what you learn into your own scripts. I did this with many screenplays, and I continue to do this with films that I love. You get insights that you might not get from the finished film into story writing and structure. So here are 4 screenplays that I recommend checking out and what you might learn from them. I'll put the links to all these screenplays in the description down below. Boogie Nights. This is my favorite screenplay. The movie came out in 1997. It was written by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I just love this movie. When you read this one, I really want you to focus on character development and pacing. It's a very long movie, but it doesn't feel like that when you're watching it, and also when you're reading it. The screenplay originally, I think, was like 300 some pages, so it's an epic rise and fall story, and it tackles a very bold subject matter. So it's an example of, if you take your story seriously, then no matter what it's about, it will come out true and honest. To see a heavy drama like that with a lot of injected humor, characters that are so fleshed out and that develop through an arc, it's just the best example I can think of, and the most fun too. I mean, it's a great movie. It doesn't sacrifice any fun because of its seriousness, and it's crazy to say because, like I said, it isn't like the porn industry, the world of the San Fernando Valley in the 70s and 80s. So there's very, very energetic characters, very flashy, but at the same time it's grounded in reality, and that's the best. And you really get that when you read it because you hear lines that come from the heart. Boogie Nights, definitely check it out for, like I said, the pacing, the bold subject matter, and how taking something seriously when it's a story you care about can only yield results that are true and honest, and in this case, classic. The next one came out in 2009, Inglorious Bastards by Quentin Tarantino. This one just puts a twist on a genre, and that's very inspiring for creative people to be able to take a genre like a war movie and just flip it on its head. There's no rules. There's flashbacks within a flashbacks in this screenplay. Tarantino intentionally spelled the title wrong, like a big FU to grammar police. He's basically saying, like, look, it's about being creative. It's about owning a world that you create from a blank page, and you can do whatever you want and have fun with it. I would really focus on the descriptive paragraphs in this screenplay because it gets very specific without overdoing it. It's right on that line of being novelistic as well as being brief. So it's a perfect example of how to do descriptive action paragraphs. And Tarantino does this with a lot of his screenplays, and you can really learn from it. He writes them as their standalone pieces of art. He writes them like, if you just read this screenplay, you'd be entertained enough that you didn't even have to see the movie. And when you read it, you'll feel like you're watching one, or you're experiencing this story on its own. It's almost like writing a book for him, that a screenplay is an art form itself. It's not just a stepping stone to making a movie. So look at the dialogue. Of course, there's multiple languages, and you can see how that's formatted. But like I said, the descriptive paragraphs, being able to just change history, and there's just no rules when it comes to screenwriting, and this is a prime example of how you can do that and still tell an amazing story. The next one, my favorite climax in a movie. Whiplash is close, 127 Hours is close. There's a lot of really close ones, but my favorite climax in a movie is from 8 Mile, the one with Eminem, in 2002, written by Scott Silver. So in this script, you can really read that everything can become an obstacle. Where you're from can be an obstacle. Your family, like I said, the setting, everything, around every corner, there should be an obstacle for your protagonist that he or she must overcome. And in this, Jimmy, you know, he's got obstacles everywhere he looks. It's within his own family, the environment. It's just keeping him from coming into his own through music, and it's holding him back. But you know what? The biggest obstacle is himself. You know, we've all heard "lose yourself," right? Vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, so he's nervous, like he's his own worst enemy. So this is just a great build up to a climax. When you read this screenplay, you'll see setups that are eventually paid off, and it's very important to pepper those throughout the film, because it gives the viewer a reward by the end that'll give them chills when they watch this awesome climax that touches on every moment in this film and every obstacle. It comes back in the end. It's very satisfying. It packs such a punch. It's a great movie. It's you know, Eminem's awesome. I wish he was in more movies. And the last one, it's probably my most cliche. I definitely avoided, you know, Chinatown and The Godfather and all those on this list. But this one, I bet you, is probably in a lot of film schools already. At least this screenwriter is. It's The Social Network. It came out in 2010. It's written by Aaron Sorkin. Dialogue. I want you to focus on the dialogue in this one. Like I said before, you know, screenplays are written to be read lightning quick compared to a novel or even a play. So this is a prime example of pacing through speech. Action paragraphs are probably, you know, my go-to for telling a story visually. However, you know, dialogue, it can be tough to get right. Aaron Sorkin, he's a master at it. And The Social Network is probably like just the best example I can think of for dialogue. I mean, it's just bam, 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 bam. They play off each other. The characters play off each other so well. And when you read this, read it as fast as possible, without sacrificing any, you know, understanding or comprehension of what's going on. Don't try to be an auctioneer, but read it extremely fast, and you'll see what I mean. You'll see them rap. I mean, if you saw the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Jesse Eisenberg, when he's talking, it sounds like he's rapping faster than Eminem, and that's just how he is as an actor, but it works so well for the character and the script. So The Social Network, worth of reading, like I said, quickly, and you'll no doubt get a lot out of it. So those are my 4. It was very hard to pick. You know, I was gonna go with The Dark Knight. Obviously, you know, the antagonist, the Joker, is like mind-boggling how well written the Joker is, and that's kind of like an example of how to withhold a backstory. You know, everybody wants to explain their backstories for their characters when you don't have to. I really love screenplays that don't tell you everything. Over-explaining is probably the number one mistake that I catch myself doing, and I bet you that most screenwriters do, and you won't find any of that in any of these screenplays. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you're into, what you've read recently, and what you got out of it. And also, you know, what screenplays are you working on, and what kind of tactics, or you know, if you're changing history in your films, or if you're writing rapid dialogue, let me know. I wanna hear about it. So thanks for watching. This has been another screenwriting tip, and stay tuned for more. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a like if you were into the video, and I will see you next time.